Hi, today we're going to be starting a new program on KNMJ, Thunderbird Radio. This is Jenny Kavanaugh. I'm the Director of Communications at New Mexico Junior College, and with me today I have Executive Director of the Western Heritage Museum, Erin Anderson, and then I also have Curator of the Western Heritage Museum at Kim Clonch, who does not want to be called Kimberly, by the way. Although at a museum, you know, the poshness of it all, maybe we can convince you someday on that one. Anyway, I just wanted to talk with people that listen to our radio station just to let them know of the different kinds of things that we have at New Mexico Junior College and the ways that we reach out to the community. We're calling this Thunderbird Stories, and this is an organic thing that we're going to be working on. So anything that you guys have that you would like to know, you can always call me. My personal number at New Mexico Junior College is 575-492-2871, and I would love to talk with you about maybe some of your Thunderbird stories, things that you have found really neat about being a part of New Mexico Junior College, or just knowing that we have a comprehensive community college in a region of this size, a rural community. It's an amazing thing to have, and if you haven't visited New Mexico Junior College in the past, I would love for you guys to just take a tour around the circle. I could lead that personally, or we could get you hooked in with somebody just to see all of the wonderful things and to talk to the people here. But anyway, I've got two great people in front of me. And we have an exciting exhibit at the Western Heritage Museum. Erin, why don't you lead out and tell us a little bit about the inception of how you got this here, and what do you think people need to see and experience with steampunk?
Okay, so we currently have called Discover Steampunk, a fantastical hands-on adventure. First of all, the name is just really exciting.
That's awesome.
Fantastical hands-on adventure. You got to be real excited when you say it. So this came about by us visiting the American Alliance of Museums meeting, and we go to the expo where you can see all the new things for museums, and exhibit companies are there, and this is Imagine Exhibitions, and they have 20 to 40 exhibits at a time that they rotate. And we saw steampunk and we're like, that is super cool. It's different than anything we've ever done. And we thought it would bring in some different people who maybe have never been to the museum before. So they came in and set it up, and there are super cool things like a time machine.
Oh, wow.
And it's talking about the importance of patents. We have an arch that's all about electricity and how it can, arc from different things, and how you turn it on with magnets sometimes and different things like that. We have a diving helmet that kind of goes with the Nautilus, so you get 20,000 leagues under the sea.
Yeah, I came and toured a little bit last week, and I was just amazed at just all the different intricate things and how they interwork, and then the electricity component, and then the ways you could really interact with some of the exhibits.
Right. And so it's really cool because it is interactive. And so our spring show, we love to have it super interactive and try to get field trips in and teach the kids. But you might say, well, what is steampunk exactly? What's cool, I think, is that it's something that people know, but they don't know.
Right. Yeah. That was one of the reasons I really wanted to talk with you and to bring you on this program, is just that you guys could explain maybe what is steampunk exactly, and the significance of bringing it here and bringing it to light for students and for the community.
Yeah. Steampunk as an idea has been around pretty much since Victorian times. That's where it started. But the term steampunk is really a 1980s term. So steampunk to me is taking things like Victorian literature, so you've got Frankenstein, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and taking those authors' views of the world into the future. And so when you look at anything steampunk, there's gears. Why are there so many gears? Well, they couldn't picture cell phones with computer chips, so they did gears. Everything is with gears. And so it's that steam industry, because that was Victorian times, and turning it futuristic. And so this is really cool because you can see how their views of the future really are coming true, but in a different way.
Now, H.G. Wells also was another author during that time as well. You mentioned the time machine. I know that there was a movie made in the 80s with Malcolm McDowell, and was an amazing thing. And they showed all these different gadgets and how they wanted to get to the future, and their views of the future. Some of them were kind of kooky, but some of them were oddly spot on, right? Have you noticed any with this exhibit? Like things just looking at it, setting it up, and learning more about this so that you can educate students?
Well, I think something that I want Kim to talk about a little more is the artifacts that we have with it.
Oh, please.
Because the exhibit is not only a hands-on thing, it's artifacts from the Franklin Institute in Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, they're not steampunk because they're legit artifacts from the time, but you can see where they were going with it and how they thought this was technologically
advanced.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So all of it is just amazing. I have no specific favorite artifact. Normally people ask what's your favorite one in each exhibit. I have no favorite, honestly. It's just so...
The true curator.
I wish that was a saying. It's just so fascinating to see everything. And, you know, the radio, there's a radio in one of the cases.
I saw that.
It's so fascinating because when we were taking it out and looking at it, we got to open it and look inside of it. And I wish I could open it for everyone and be like, look how amazing technology has advanced from coils and just like electricity jumping back and forth and almost like an old school clock where you have to like make sure the pendulum's actually working, to modern day radio where it's just like, you know, here's a computer chip, a wire, and another computer chip, and that's how radios kind of work, type of a thing. Just seeing the advancements of technology from then to now is fascinating. So that's H.G. Wells' case. In the Mary Shelley case, there's an arc lamp. So what's cool about the arc lamp is I actually got to listen to someone talk about how they were used. They were mostly used in movie theater.
Right.
And so it's just to kind of connect the lamps. It has like a little stick of carbon in it. And so it makes an arc spark. Like if you look at a couple of other things around the exhibit, you'll see like the Jacob's ladder, you know, when the arc is just going up it, like if you watched Frankenstein. So those lamps will make that same arc, but it glows as it goes up it. It's so fascinating to see that because now you have LED lights that just can dim and not dim on the spot without you having to use these arc lamps. It's so nerd moment for me.
Well, what's really neat about it to me when you're explaining that is just the process of how we've come from there, how we've evolved with technology, and that something like that had to exist. And then you work through it and you're like, okay, there's these kinks, there's these quirks. How could we make it better? How can we do it better? But I think what's interesting about steampunk, and like I said, I like to nerd out on stuff too all the time. And that's why I think this is really fascinating. There's just a whole culture around steampunk. There's cosplay events, you know, all these different things, just bringing that to light and then seeing all these advances and everything. I just think it's really fascinating.
And talking about that, I kind of want to give a shout out to the Permian Basin Comic-Con and the Permian Basin Steampunk group. They are amazing people. And I know Erin and I have kind of been in contact with them about this, but they're excited for the exhibit and I'm excited to go talk to them at con. And I just watching them get dressed up and then them like just showing you all the different styles of how steampunk can look. And it doesn't just have to be, you know, a tight-fitted corset, a dress, and a loose-fitting shirt with some goggles. It could be, you know, the mask with the raven nose on it. What is that?
The plague doctor.
The plague doctor mask. And
those are fascinating and creepy, but awesome, right?
And, you know, top hats and pants. It doesn't just have to be one specific way. Everyone has a version of steampunk that is their specific version. So there's no one, this is steampunk. It's whatever you want it to be.
So you could actually come if you were a person that was with this group and come in costume and enjoy it.
There are tons of photo opportunities in the exhibit too. I mean, there's a photo background itself with steampunk on it, but taking a picture with the arch and the electricity and the time machine. I mean, yeah, get dressed up. Come on. We're thinking of maybe trying to do a costume contest at some point.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, so you got to stay tuned because, you know, we got things in the work. This is here till June 5th, so.
Oh, wow. So there's plenty of time to see this event.
Plenty of time.
Now, you have an event coming up on Facebook Live.
We do. Yeah, so we're going to speak with a professor from Texas Tech and Margene Purinton, and she is a specialty in women's literature from the Victorian age.
Oh, wow.
And so she's going to be talking about Frankenstein and the ethics of electricity.
Oh, interesting.
And so fits in with A, our exhibit, because we talk about Mary Shelley, and B, electricity. And
just how those two fit together, the innovation of electricity, but then what also it brought to the table. But then how did it work? How did they talk about it in literature? And how did literature and just like folding cake batter, how this just kind of comes in and create something new.
Yeah, again, it's Mary Shelley's view of the future. Can we bring something back to life? What does it take? And electricity was the key there. So
there's so many different versions of the Frankenstein movie. I mean, just what is there, something like 3 or 4?
Oh, there has to be at least,
yeah. If not more. Yeah, it's a fascinating story. Could we bring something back to life with electricity? But then what? What happens? And should we?
Exactly.
Sometimes innovations are good and sometimes they're not. But I think it's important to explore it. And I think this is a really great way to do that.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing anything with Lee County schools? Any type of field trips, inviting students in at this time, or are you working on that?
They are definitely invited. We haven't heard from anyone yet, but we would definitely like you to reach out to us, and we're happy to open up for tours. We're actually open to the public regular hours, which is fantastic.
And what are the hours of the museum?
We have, okay, hold on, wait for this. Tuesday, Wednesday is 10 to 5. Thursday, Friday is 10 to 7 p.m. because, people work, so we want to be open after hours. And Saturday, 10 to 5, Sunday, 1 to 5.
Okay. And so are there any COVID restrictions at this time, or are those have been amended?
Just wear a mask. We're with New Mexico Junior College. We still require a mask.
Yeah, this is just for everybody's safety. It's not to really tell anybody what to do, but it's really important that for our students that we keep them on campus. And so we just ask out of courtesy that you would respect that.
Exactly. And since it is a hands-on exhibit, we do go and sanitize.
Wonderful.
After groups of people.
About that. Yeah, because some people are very concerned about that. And I think it's important that we safeguard everybody here that we invite to the junior college. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about this event?
About which event? The exhibit itself?
Yeah.
Well, let's continue with the Mary Shelley thing. So if you don't get to see it live on Facebook or through Zoom, we're going to record it and we're going to put it on our YouTube channel. So I think that's going to be really good. If you missed it, go ahead and go check it out. And we're hoping to have some other events. There's really nothing planned yet, except that we're working with Training and Outreach on their continuing ed, and we're going to have a really fun event in April. I don't want to say too much yet, but it's happening.
Well, we may have to bring you back in April when you fleshed all that out. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate everything that you guys do. I know that working at a museum, sometimes there's a lot of work that's behind the scenes that people don't see. And I think that we have 2 Lee County treasures right here that they work so hard to bring things for our educational benefit, but also for the community to just raise the game of Lee County and what we're trying to do. But also with the junior college, the Western Heritage Museum really is a jewel in the southeast region of the state. Well, even more in the entire state. What an opportunity that we have to bring these types of events to Lee County, but also just the different things you do with Lee County Cowboy Hall of Fame and the ways that you honor the heritage. I think it's just an amazing thing, and we're just very lucky to have you and to have that type of facility here on New Mexico Junior College campus. Again, this is Jenny Kavanaugh. I'm the Director of Communications at New Mexico Junior College, and this is Thunderbird Stories. So thank you. Have a good day.